In the last few months, Microsoft has tripled the number of security-focused certification exams, and knowing how to prepare quickly and even which one to focus on can be a real challenge. I'm going to solve that for you today. I'll connect you with free and low-cost resources to help you prepare for these exams, and I'll make crystal clear to you which exams map to which roles, the technical focus of each, and which are most likely to factor in your job. And if you stick with me to the end, I'll tell you which you should tackle first and why each might be important based on your current career focus and your future career goals. So based on the questions that I've been receiving, I'm going to give you the 2021 version of the Microsoft Security Certification Exam Roadmap. I want to dial you in to the exams you should focus on and how you can prepare most time efficiently and cost effectively. You don't have to spend a lot of money to prepare for any of these. So if we start by taking a look at the Microsoft certification poster, we'd want to go all the way to the bottom where we see the Security, Compliance, and Identity section. These are our security-focused exams. You'll notice there's one fundamentals exam and 5 role-based exams, also called associate level certifications. So that fundamentals exam is the SC 900, which is the Security, Compliance, and Identity Fundamentals. So add to that 5 considerably more challenging associate level exams, including SC 200, 300, and 400, which are new additions to the associate level exams Microsoft offers around security, and then MS 500 and AZ 500, which are the 2 original security-focused exams from Microsoft. Each of these on its own can take weeks or months of preparation depending on where you are today, so going the right direction from the beginning is going to be important to not wasting time or money. So in case you're not familiar with the Microsoft exam universe, we have fundamentals, associate, and expert level exams, and as you move from left to right, depth and complexity increase. I can promise you that even though there's no expert level security exam, these associate level exams will darn well make you feel like you are absolutely an expert, and indeed you will be. So what is the experience expectation Microsoft has for you at each level when we think about fundamentals, associate, and expert? Well, fundamentals are for folks just getting started. So if you're new to security, if you're new to the Microsoft Cloud, fundamentals level exams make a lot of sense. And at the associate level, there's an expectation of 2 years of hands-on experience. So that's no joke, right? They expect you to be familiar with the doing of the products and the services you're working with. And then the expert level assumes 2 to 5 years plus that associate level experience. So the bar gets higher as we move along. So what do all these fundamental certification exams have in common? Well, all the fundamentals exams are indeed optional. I'm going to tell you that most people should take the SC 900 Security Fundamentals exam anyway. Even if you're well-versed in security fundamentals or you have considerable experience on a non-Microsoft cybersecurity stack. And let me explain why, and this will make sense. So first off, it's going to give you exposure to the full range of Microsoft cybersecurity capabilities. You'll know which features and services map to which problems. And this isn't an exam just for technically focused security professionals. If you're in a sales or a pre-sales role with a security focus, if you're in a management role, if you're a manager or a director over an IT department or an IT security department, this exam is great to give you additional context so you can participate with your team as you're planning and strategizing for how you will solve for security problems and how you will improve your security posture. It's going to be great for the full range of folks in our technology department. Now, I want to give you just a tip here around any exam really, but it's really important for the fundamentals exam. You want to focus on the verbs. So SC 900 is a fundamentals exam, which means it's going to have a bunch of single line multiple choice questions. It's not deeply technical. It's an hour long. It's 99 bucks. Most folks go in and knock it out pretty quickly, but when we look at the 4 objective domains that this exam focuses on, describe is the first word in all 4 of those. So that tells us we need to be able to describe at a high level many of these services, features, and capabilities. You don't need to design or plan or implement. So this is going to be a pretty lightly technical exam. Now I want to just take a look at how you'd prepare for this. So in the SC900 world, when I go out and I just search for SC900 skills measured, it brings me to the exam homepage. I can pull up the skills measured where I see those 4 objective domains and the individual services that I'm going to work with. Now, how do you want to prepare for this? Well, if you'd like to really take the official Microsoft route, you can scroll down. You'll see how to schedule the exam, but below skills measured, you'll see that you can prepare online for free, which is fantastic. You can go through a number of modules here. There's a little mini assessment or quiz at the end of each, so it's fairly simple to get through, but there's more. So I have for you a 2.5-hour SC900 exam cram. I have hundreds of students who've reported back to me that they've used this video exclusively or as a supplement to the official Microsoft content to get through the SC900 exam with great results quickly and easily on their first try. And wait, there's more. I also have for you an 80-question SC900 practice exam. It's absolutely free. There is no sign-in required. You just go to the link that I provide in the video description, hit the start button, and answer the questions. When you're done, you hit finish. You're going to be able to review your answers. There are links to explanations, but there is a question for every skill measured in this exam. So my practice exam maps to the skills measured to the tune of 85 questions to be exact. And you'll find links in there that take you to explanations. So if you get one wrong, you'll understand why you got it wrong and be ready for the exam. In fact, most folks tell me that my quiz is actually a bit more difficult than the actual exam. And again, links to my SC900 exam cram and the free practice quiz to go with it are in the video description. So let's move on to the 5 more challenging associate level exams. So I mentioned that at the associate level, Microsoft expects 2 years of experience, but what do all these associate level exams have in common? Well, they expect that you have hands-on experience, and you'll notice this when you look at any of the skills measured documents for an exam. So just taking AZ 500 as an example, you'll notice that for the objective domains, we see verbs like manage, implement, manage, secure. So there's a lot of doing involved in these associate level exams, so you're really going to have that hands-on experience. There is truly no substitute. So let's break down these 5 associate level exams and talk about what is covered on SC 200, 300, and 400, as well as the MS 500 and AZ 500. So you can get to which exams are going to be best for you based on where you are today and where you would like to progress to in the future. So let's start with SC 200, which is Security Operations Analyst. So this exam, in terms of role focus, is a role that collaborates with stakeholders to secure IT systems to remediate active attacks. So Security Operations Analyst really tells the tale there. Your tech focus here is going to be Azure Sentinel, Azure Defender, and Microsoft 365 Defender. And in fact, if we just look at the SC200 skills measured, we'll see the objective domains are mitigating threats with Microsoft 365 Defender, mitigating threats with Azure Defender, and mitigating threats with Azure Sentinel. So very much focused on those 3 areas of technology. This is going to be, therefore, a great role for a senior staff member in an organization's Security Operations Center, or SOC. So if this describes you, this is a great exam to tackle. Next up is the SC300 exam, which is the Identity and Access Administrator Associate certification. So I love this exam because identity is life when it comes to cybersecurity, right? Everybody needs identity. The role focus here is an individual that focuses on managing an organization's identity and access management using Azure Active Directory. Technically, this exam's focusing on Azure AD, authentication and access management. You're going to touch conditional access policies and identity governance features like privileged identity management, B2B collaboration. You'll touch on B2C. And just as with the other exams, if you go out to the Microsoft site and you just search on SC300 Skills Measured, you'll come to the exam homepage. You can schedule your exam. You can get to that Skills Measured document that gives you the details. You can scroll down here and find free online preparation. I don't have a link for you to training over on LinkedIn Learning yet because I just created this course a few weeks ago. I'm expecting my SC300 exam prep course on LinkedIn Learning to be released literally any day now. Today is August 13th. I wouldn't be surprised if it's out as soon as next week. If you can't find it, check with me and I will let you know, because I'm all about making sure that folks can prepare quickly and efficiently and with a minimum of expense. That's really my focus. But this exam is really deep, hands-on identity focus, and if your organization uses Azure subscriptions, if you're hosting services in the cloud, then identity and access is important to you. If your organization uses Office 365, then identity and access is important to you. Really, the entire Microsoft 365 family relies on Azure AD as its foundation for identity and access. So this is a great exam for just about any role that you might be moving into. So SC400 is a different animal. This is the Information Protection Administrator Associate exam, and this has more niche, more narrow focus on a role that implements controls meeting an organization's compliance need with regards to information. So the tech focus here is really around Microsoft 365 information protection, data loss prevention, and information governance features. So it's going to be very deep but very specific in its focus. It's hands-on coverage of Microsoft 365 information protection, retention, records management, compliance, lots of tech that I find on the whole not many folks are familiar with. And some of this, to be fair, is newer functionality. So if you're intrigued by information protection, if this is a role you see a need for in your organization, this may be an exam for you. If you come out to the Microsoft site, find the SC400 homepage for the exam, you can get those skills measured and you can find the link to the online training in MS Learn. But what you'll see with this exam is that everything it covers is around information. So we have objective domains like implement information protection, implement data loss prevention. So two distinct capabilities and features. You're going to be touching on Exchange and SharePoint and OneDrive and Teams and Microsoft Cloud App Security. And you'll be moving into information governance features. You'll be talking retention labels, retention policies, how to configure and publish and auto-apply label policies. So if this is all Greek to you, but it's an area of interest, it's not something that's going to be at the top of every organization's list, but where this role is recognized as one that is needed, it is going to be exceedingly valuable. So I think it is a valuable specialty. And again, when we get to the end of the exams here, I'm going to talk to you about which of these I think fit for which roles and your potential future focus. So before we get to that, though, let's talk about the last two in the list of associate exams, the original two, the OG of Microsoft Cybersecurity Certification. We have first Microsoft 365 Security Administrator Associate, the MS500 exam. So this role focuses on proactively securing Microsoft 365 enterprise environments. So it's not only deep, it's broad, responding to threats, performing investigations, enforcing data governance. So the focus here touches on identity and access, threat protection, information protection, governance, and compliance. So you're going to be touching on a wide range of Microsoft 365 technologies, and you will touch on SharePoint and Teams and OneDrive and quite a bit more. If I come out here to the MS500 exam homepage, I can scroll down and get to that skills measured document. And what I'm going to find in this skills measured document, we're touching on governance and compliance, including some of the fairly new Microsoft 365 compliance features. You'll look at the new Security Center. You're going to see some new experiences in the portal. You'll be looking at tech like Microsoft Cloud App Security. You'll be looking at data loss prevention, using sensitivity labels across Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive, and Office apps. You'll touch on Azure Sentinel, Defender, Defender for Endpoint, Defender for Identity. Just a really broad range of technologies. And again, you've got the free online learning from Microsoft, but the good news is, this exam has been around for quite a long time. You can pop over here to LinkedIn Learning and you will find a 4-course series on MS500. There's 1 course for each objective domain, and Ugo and I focus on giving you very targeted guidance in your preparation for MS500, really helping you to focus down in those final hours before the exam, really complementing that Microsoft Learn content. But there's a wider range of tools and tech here versus those SC- exams, so I think MS500 might be a half a step more challenging in some respects because it's not only deep, it's also very broad. So let's talk about our other OG, which is AZ500, the Azure Security Engineer Associate exam. This focus is maintaining security posture, identifying and remediating vulnerabilities using a variety of security tools, implementing threat protection, and responding to security incidents. The array of tech you're touching here is just endless, but a wide variety of identity, app, data, infrastructure, security features, tooling, and even operations. So when we look at this, it's a wider range of tools and tech versus the current SC-exams. I want to come over here and just look at what you can use to get ready for this exam because I have some great surprises for you here. So when I look at the AZ500 exam homepage, I get down to that skills measured. What you're going to see here is a startling array of technologies that are touched. So the objective domains for this exam include managing identity and access. So we're touching Azure AD, we're talking security principles, we're talking app registration. This is the single area where I get the most questions. I actually have a 15-minute video on app registration. I'll put the link down in the video description. It will help you on exam day. Implementing platform protection. So here you're touching on a variety of features in the Azure infrastructure category. So virtual networks, firewalls, Azure SQL, Key Vault, App Service. So you're talking about web and database, service endpoints, distributed denial of service, or Azure DDoS as a feature. You get into securing compute, so think Azure VMs. And then moving into operations, you're talking about monitoring by and large. So you're talking Security Center, Azure Monitor, Azure Sentinel, security policies, and then you get into data and apps. So you're talking about Azure Storage, you're talking about securing databases, and you're talking about securing secrets in Azure. Just a startling array of content here. I can't stress that enough. So the MS Learn free learning is going to be very important for you because this is how you're going to get some free access to some Azure spend through the Azure Sandbox. But also, if you pop over to LinkedIn Learning, you'll see that we have a Become an Azure Security Engineer series over here. I have a 5-course series here. It basically maps to one course for every objective domain. We have that last objective domain broken into 2 courses because originally it was quite large. Great content, folks tell me, for that last round of learning before they go into exam day, because I am all about drilling down to what you need for game day. That's what I care about. But I've got more, okay? So you come over to YouTube. I have an AZ500 exam cram skills measured. This is meant to complement my LinkedIn Learning content. It is even more focused, drilling down on what you need for game day because it is such a deep exam and it covers such a broad array of tech. It's just kind of mind-boggling. And to top it off, I've got around, I believe, 50 questions here in a free AZ500 practice quiz. Nope, sorry, 80 questions now. Again, you come out here, there's no cost, there's no login required. Take the questions, hit the finish button, go through the answers, find explanations and links to additional documentation there. Use it with my compliments. So for AZ500 in that playlist I have for you, which is 14 unique videos. The first I have is how I should prepare for the AZ500 exam. So if you watch that, it'll give you links to all the resources. It's pretty simple. I have an AZ500 exam prep guide that has links to all of the resources. You'll find a link to that exam prep guide in this video's description, and that bonus practice quiz. All right. So let's get down to the million-dollar question. Which should I take first? Let's talk about this, because it really depends on who you are, obviously, but I have some thoughts, and don't be a hater on this, all right? I'm going to break this down and give you some opinions that I think make sense, and what's right for you will depend on which of these categories you kind of fit yourself into. So let's start with broadest benefits across IT roles. So I told you I love that Identity and Access Administrator exam. That is good for everybody, man. Identity and access is life when it comes to cybersecurity. You will use this knowledge almost regardless of your role. I like this Security Administrator exam, and I like this Security Engineer exam because these have broader technology focus, as I mentioned, than their later SC- exams. But that MS500 role, that's going to be great if you're focused on more modern desktop, if you're focused on the end user, if you're focused on email and collaboration and information, that's going to be a great exam for you. Now, if you're a little more data center focused, if you're working in Azure, maybe you're working in DevOps, maybe you're the ops side of DevOps. If you're working in Azure, you're hosting apps and infrastructure, Azure Security Engineer is where you need to be. Now, what about a bit more niche or role specific? Well, Security Operations Analyst. If you want to step into a SOC and be that person watching the big threat map in the Security Operations Center, SC200 is a great exam for you. But remember, that's going to focus very much on Azure Sentinel and Azure Defender and Microsoft 365 Defender. So it's going to be best if your organization has adopted those tools or is planning to adopt those tools, or you're working with customers who are adopting those tools. And the other niche that I think can really help you stand out in the right environment is that Information Protection Administrator, or SC400 exam. Again, this is focusing on quite a lot of information protection, data loss prevention, compliance, and governance tech that I find not many folks are all that familiar with, and this is an emerging area with lots of new capabilities. So if you're looking to differentiate and have that skill that nobody else has, this can really be a differentiator for you in the job market as well, because not many people are going to hold that piece of paper in the near future. And congratulations, you've made it to the end of another video. I hope you're finding value in my cloud and security content. If you have any questions or thoughts about your cybersecurity certification path, leave those questions and your thoughts in the video comments. I hope to see you in the next video, and until next time, take care and stay safe.